our seniors. All right, 8:38 now. Back to the big story of the day. We're talking about the snow with some parts of our state expecting more than a foot of snow, maybe a foot and a half or more. It can be exhausting. All that snow, it does have to be cleared. What a job it's going to be. We're joined now with Dr. Kevin Burton. He's a surgeon at Orthopedic Associates of Hartford. Thanks so much for being with us, doctor.
Morning, Erica.
All right, we're going to talk about injuries in a second, but first let's talk about any advice that you have on folks on how they can avoid the injury to begin with. I mean, that would be really the goal, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you can avoid the injury, that's the best preventative medicine you can do. Unfortunately, in these snow and ice conditions, it becomes really challenging. And as soon as those flakes start to fly, there's going to be some ice that's underneath them, and those things get really slippery. So I think from a prevention standpoint, good shoe wear, trying not to move too quickly and keeping your feet as close together as possible is probably the best you can do to try to avoid those tough situations. But unfortunately, the injuries still do happen, and certainly in my world, in hand, wrist, and elbow, many of those injuries happen on our watch because you put your hand out to prevent you from whacking your head on the way down.
Yeah, you're trying to catch yourself, and then there's the injury. Or you do make it down, and then, you blow out your knee. So what should folks do if they do slip, if they do fall? What should they do as far as, should they wait to see a doctor? Should they immediately go to the ER? There's a lot going through your mind in these type of situations.
Sure. First, it's an issue of, how severe is the injury? If you kind of slip and fall and you find yourself down on the ground and you say, okay, I've got myself together and I can get myself back up, I'm okay standing, and nothing else feels too bad, you're probably fine to go. But if you feel like something is more significant than that, and especially in again, my world in hand, wrist, and elbow, if you feel like you just can't bear weight or put pressure on it, you probably should stop what you're doing and not push through it. And then first steps in terms of injury is assess if there's anything more severe. If there's any holes in the skin, then that certainly can be a broken bone that popped through the skin. That would be something you really want to get to seek attention as soon as you can, because the earlier you start antibiotics in that situation, the better. Other things I would recommend people do, if you start to see some swelling and bruising, it's certainly concerning. Obvious deformity is something going to push you to seek attention much more quickly. Other things to consider, though, would be to get rings off of the fingers as soon as possible, because those swollen fingers will actually creep up on you over the next several hours, and then those rings can't come off. So one of those things that you can certainly do early on to keep yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, those are really good reminders, and would never have thought about taking off rings and other things like that, because swelling would be coming. All right, doctor, thanks so much. We do appreciate it. Hopefully everyone keeps those tips in mind and everyone stays safe out there this weekend.